2025 was the year that everyone said agents would run your businesses. But what you don't know is 95% of agent projects failed. I've been in AI for a decade now, building it, breaking it, and seeing what really works. And I'm here to call BS on the bad advice.
And I'm here to keep it human as we go up in the AI.
I'm James.
I'm Tanya, and welcome to Up in the AI. Today's episode, we're going to cover off what AI agents are, and if you've got one or two working for you, what you need to be thinking about, what you need to avoid, if it's broken, how you're going to fix it, and also talking about some security on like ensuring you're not burning through tons of cash. But before we get into any of that, James, I do want to ask the question so we're all on the same page. What is an AI agent?
I think you want to think about this in what it's not, first of all. It's not a monolithic automation, 1 + 1 = 2. The point about an agent is it's going to take information in, and it's going to make a decision, and it's autonomous. It's going to do that on its own. That's the point of an agent.
Yeah, so no prompting, no keep questioning. It's just going to go and do something that you've asked it to do.
Well, I mean, it's all prompted in the background, right? So you've already gone through the process of testing it, popping in multiple inputs, seeing what happens. But the point of an agent is that it's got a certain piece of or certain pieces of information coming in, and it chooses what to do with that information. Good agents have tools underneath them, multiple tools. So it could be like a lead comes in. One tool is check. Does this lead exist in the CRM system? Okay, yes or no. If no, then it goes to another tool and it creates that opportunity in your CRM system, and then so on and so forth down the path until it completes its purpose.
Okay, great. So then let's get into the BS, no BS, my favorite part. I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions. You're going to say no BS or BS and give us a very short, little answer to back that up. Ready?
Yes.
Okay. AI agents are a waste of time for small businesses.
Not BS. No, they're not a waste of time. It's just lots of people are wasting their time doing it wrong.
Okay. 2025 created more broken agents than useful ones.
Yeah, I think that's true. We've read the report. 95% of AI agents are failing.
Yeah, okay. Big number there. All right. BS or no BS? If your agent isn't event-driven, you should turn it off.
Event-driven agents are definitely better because that means essentially they're triggered by an event rather than something that's scheduled. But I think the way to put it is if your agent can be triggered by an event and it works, it's going to work productively in that manner, then that's the way you should do it. But there are some that can't, some that need that regular schedule-based checking.
Okay, so that's a no BS to that one.
Yeah, let's say no. It's no BS there. Yeah. Okay.
All right, cool. All right, BS or no BS? Most AI failures are leadership failures, not technical ones.
I 100% agree. So no BS on that one.
Okay. I would love to hear more on that later. BS or no BS? Fully autonomous agents are a liability in 2026.
Oh, they are a liability. You're saying they are a liability. So I would say majority of people would probably have trouble with fully autonomous agents, yes, because they're not set up properly. Going back to your previous one, because the leadership doesn't understand the full strategy. So no BS.
Okay. All right, last one. BS or no BS? Killing a bad agent is better move than optimizing it.
That's a really hard one because killing a bad agent is definitely a good move. But this, again, comes back to the whole strategy piece. If the agent is designed to solve a real problem that's an impending issue within your business, then killing it and not trying to fix it is a bad idea. But most people in 2025 and 2024, they built crap because they had bad strategy. They didn't know what they're doing. In that sense, killing it is a good idea.
Okay, well, I think that's a perfect lead into the first part of what we want to talk about today, which is, so if you have got one or more of these AI agents working for you, what is it you want to be really aware of, and what are the things that you're wanting to avoid?
Okay, so let's start with the strategy piece. I think it's been proven now, 2025 and 2024. I think 2024 was 80% of AI projects failed. 2025, they're now saying 95%. So that starts with strategy, 100%. You need to be solving an actual problem. There's just a graveyard of AI agents, right? I have it inside of my make and inside of my NA10, things that I tried that I never really got working. And then I got, distracted by something else. Why did that happen? Because I wasn't actually solving something that I really needed to solve. That was particularly me towards the end of 2024.
Mm.
I think I learned that lesson by 2025. In terms of cost, in terms of securing yourself, well, I'll give you the story. So this happened to me probably mid 2024. I'd created this fantastic blog agent that was doing a lot of different things. It was creating a vector database, doing automatic research,
Mm.
finding comparative posts, and then creating my blog post. And I just hadn't set it up right. At least I thought I had. And I'd done the testing, but I hadn't tested it turned on. And what it did is I had about 100 keywords that I'd done research on using SEMrush. And I said, create these blog posts for these keywords. And then I left it. And a few days later, I came back to it, or maybe even a week. I don't know why it took so long to come back to it. But it had taken those 100 keywords and just constantly created blog posts. So I had like 10 or 15 for every single keyword.
Right.
The only thing that shut it off was my API credit limit. So for those of you that don't know, you can obviously have a subscription to ChatGPT or Claude on the web base, and you can go in, you can do your thing, and then eventually it'll say you've hit your limit, and that's fine. You're not actually spending money, you're just using up your subscription. With APIs, it's the opposite way. You top up money, you put $50, $100 onto the OpenAI platform or Claude's platform.
Mm-hmm.
And then it slowly eats away at your credit. And then most people that are doing this seriously, they have an auto top up. And then at this point, I didn't have an auto top up. Luckily for me, so I had $100 on my OpenAI API credit, and
Right.
it got to the end, and then I logged in, and the reason why I saw it is like all of my scenarios had failed. The ones that were to do with the blog post and the ones that weren't. Everything that called OpenAI's APIs, they'd all failed. I was like, what's going on? I
Mm.
looked at the error. It's like insufficient credit. I was like, wow, that's weird. I had $100 on there just a few days ago, and I went in. I'd seen what happened. I'd gone and found all of these blog posts.
Wow.
Suffice to say, I was very lucky that I didn't have auto top up on.
Right. So, do you think this is one of the main things that people should be aware of when working with AI agents? You think it's the biggest problem or the biggest pain point?
I just don't think the average person understands what an API is, that there's
Yeah.
real costs associated to it, and that when they're getting started, they need to have their limits in place. I wouldn't turn auto top up on until you're 100% sure. And if
Yes.
you really want to be meticulous, you can have different APIs set up. You
Mhm.
can have, okay, I've tested these things. I know they're working. This goes into my auto top up API. And then
Mm.
you can have, I'm still testing them, keep them with a limited balance API just in case something like this happens.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Is it the biggest mistake people make? No, I don't think so. I think it's one of those ones that goes on in the background and people don't realize until it's too late that they're spending money that they don't need to.
So, this could also relate to I don't know. Like it makes me think about subscriptions, right? We sign up to
Mm,
something, we think, woohoo, I'm going to use this every month, every day. And then you
mm.
forget about it. And all of a sudden you realize 6 months later you've been paying for this thing you've never been using. Is it kind of like that?
But it has the potential to be much worse. Like if
Much.
people don't put real limits on it,
Mm.
then yeah, you can drain your card pretty damn quickly, especially if it's looped. Like that thing that I was doing, it was looped. So it just wasn't stopping.
Okay.
The other thing that you're seeing is around event-based versus scheduled. So an event-based trigger is like something comes in, an email comes in, a new lead comes in, an SMS, whatever it might be, and that triggers the workflow to start.
Mhm.
Whereas a scheduled one is like, okay, I'm going to check my emails every 2 hours or every hour. Right, so it goes checks. Did anything come in? No. Checks, and especially if there's lots to check, like it can really absorb your credits. And
Mm.
and that's just the naivety of people not understanding how APIs work. The trigger based thing is something developers have been working with forever.
Mhm.
And this is you see it a lot at the moment. Developers are actually laughing at us AI noobs that don't have real technical skills. See it with vibe coding, like we're letting AI build holes in our security, and the developers are going, well, we've known this for 10, 20, 30 years. If you just follow best practices, you wouldn't have these issues.
Yeah. And if you're wholly relying on AI to do something for you and you don't have the fundamental understanding of what it's doing, then
Yeah.
you potentially, well, going to create problems for yourself. So
Yeah.
this is all in context of someone going out and building it for
Yeah.
themselves, right? And if they're new to that, what other things would you think of that would be good bits of advice on like what to be aware of and the pitfalls to avoid?
It's a very self-serving thing to say, but I mean, if you're a business owner, you're generating decent revenue, you've got a real problem to solve. Honestly, what does it really hurt for you to actually bring in a professional to do this? Like, you've got money, you want to solve that problem quickly, you want to make sure it doesn't cost you.
Mm,
Find somebody that knows your industry, that knows the technology, just get them to do it. If you are a bit of a hobbyist, somebody that wants to learn, like I would still go with the Hormozy route. He did this for marketing. When he was doing advertising to begin with, he used an agency and he learned from that agency.
yeah,
Even though he wanted to learn, he still paid for it to be done right. He learned from what worked. I would say the same thing is relevant here. There's no need to as a business owner, a successful business owner, to mess around on the tools, to get it wrong, to waste your time. You can still learn by watching somebody do it right.
100%. Like, as you've been talking now, I have my own experience of it that I've talked about on this podcast too. I was starting up a business, got into a rabbit hole. I thought I understood Zapier. How hard would it be to,
Mm,
make something with Make?
yeah,
Didn't realize it was a whole other learning experience. And then and the worst bit was who I was following to create this thing, this agent for
yeah,
me. It was, oh, okay, I'll give him credit. It was all quite new at the time. So
yeah,
there wasn't a lot of information out there. Like when I decided that this, what I'm following is not working and I seem to be
yeah.
doing to the T. And then I went to go and try and find out how to do it better or differently. And there was very little out there because no one else was doing it. So maybe that's changed.
Yeah.
But that eked into about 2 weeks of my time to try and create something that would save me time. And yeah, and it was also like the burned feeling of going through that.
Yeah.
Definitely. I agree with you. Getting someone in there that knows how to do it and doing it well and avoiding those things that we've kind of starting to mention now around security, like especially if it's something to do with holding your customers. Yeah, you
Mhm.
really want to make sure you get the professionals in there you don't want to be messing around in that space. Okay.
And
What?
okay, so let's go with if you are going to do it yourself, like you're
Oh,
just,
okay.
you haven't got any money or you're just desperate to do it.
Yeah.
The way to do it is first, repetitive now, but like make sure you're actually solving a problem. Let's assume that you are and you've got the right strategy. Solve it in this most simplistic way first and actually
Mm,
start, getting a return on investment. So what does that look like? Often that means a monolithic, non-AI based automation first. A
mhm.
simple 1 + 1 = 2. Let's say you solve 20% of the problem. Then maybe add a bit of AI and then maybe turn it into an AI agent, but keep the human in the loop. And
Okay.
then only when you've seen it working for 2 to 3 months and you're super happy, it's got
Yeah.
a 95+% hit rate, only then put it into God mode and let it run.
God
That's the
mode.
ultimate advice for anyone building this.
That sounds good to me. You said something there. It's just a word. Monolithic.
Monolithic, yeah.
What is that?
That's like you've only got one path to walk.
Right.
It's like,
Okay.
another way of looking at an AI agent is like you're at a start to a maze and there's multiple ways you can get through the maze to get to the end point. An
Yeah.
AI agent will make its decisions and take you around the maze based on the input and the output, right?
Mhm.
Monolithic is like there's only one straight path. That's the only thing you can go. And monolithic usually means it's only a very finite, very focused piece of information that starts that journey.
Right. Like a really simple task.
Well, I mean, you
Yes.
can have quite complex monolithic flows,
Right.
but just the point about monolithic is that they're not, it's like the opposite of autonomous. Like you
Okay.
can't throw it something that it doesn't understand. It doesn't do like significant analysis. It's all like, okay, my blog posts
Yeah.
example, that was actually monolithic. Like
Hmm.
I had about 20 steps, but they always followed the same steps one by one by one.
Okay.
The autonomous agent is like our orchestrator model, right? There's an orchestrator at the top and it chooses what agents and what tools to call based on the input.
Okay. So you did. there was something earlier we talked about autonomous agents are a really bad idea in 2026. Talk about that then.
I don't think they're,
Fully autonomous agents are a liability in 2026.
for most people, because most people don't know what they're doing, and most people turn it on way too quickly,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
So if you've done what I've just suggested before and you've got to a 95% hit rate with human in the loop,
Mm-hmm.
turn it into God mode, make it truly autonomous, and let it do your work.
Okay.
100%. But
Yeah.
it's like we are getting so lazy when it comes to AI. And I see it myself as well. I have to fight against it. It's like, putting something out there without reading it through, deciding to use an agent that isn't fully tested. I mean,
Yeah.
we just went through this as I spent, for reference, for everyone that's listening, I spent all of this time creating special Notion board for me and Tanya for this podcast, and
Yeah.
like a supercharged Notion agent that did all of these things, all the bells and whistles. And I did loads of meta prompting back and forth, but I
Yeah.
hadn't really tested it. And then we say to each other, Tanya and I, okay, we need to be super efficient. Let's get all of the pre-production information done. I was like, oh yeah, I'll put it through my agent. It's
Yeah.
awesome. And it gives the wrong output. It freezes. It overloads. Why? Because I didn't test it. Like, all of the prompting visually looks great. Like, it looks like it's perfect and the
Yeah.
structure is great. And I've asked AI multiple times, how does this look? Is it
Yeah.
going to spit out the right thing? But you put it through the actual test and it fails.
Yep.
And you shouldn't do what we did here, what I did to Tanya, which is test something live. It should go through the tests with inconsequential data at a time that isn't critical to you.
Yeah, 100%. And so, okay, is there anything else you want to share on AI agents? Because the last question I have is really, for someone who's sitting listening to this and they want to do it, what would you point them in the direction of? Like sales, customer service, admin, what would that be?
Um, well, one thing I'll say before we go there is,
Mhm.
I think the point is that so many people have done it and not finished it,
Mhm.
right? So you've got 95% of these agents are sitting in a graveyard, in an archive, in a draft mode.
Yeah.
I have enough of them myself. So if you're in that position, what should you do? You should do an analysis as to whether those agents are actually going to solve a problem. And if they do, if they clearly will solve that problem, you need to push through. Either that's you putting yourself in a dark room for a few days and doing the things that we talked about, setting it up properly, doing the appropriate testing, making sure you get a return on investment before turning it up.
Mhm, mhm.
Or, more likely for your business owners, just bring somebody in to fix it. They may start from scratch, but it doesn't really matter if it solves a real problem. You're going to get a real return on investment. It doesn't matter if you spend a few $1,000s on it. Then, just a very quick example, like, I've got one sitting in the graveyard. We've talked about it before. It's my EA. It did a load of like email categorization for me, auto reply. And I just found that especially the drafts that it was creating for you, I didn't have it on God mode. It had a human in the loop, but it was creating loads of inappropriate drafts. Or not inappropriate, just not useful drafts. It wasn't inappropriate. That would be funny. And I turned it off because it was just causing me more hassle to read through these drafts than it was just to use Whisperflow and dictate the drafts myself. And
Mm,
I've been meaning to fix it over Christmas, but I didn't. And we had this conversation before the episode. You asked me, have I fixed it?
yeah.
And why haven't I fixed it? I was like, well, I think I realized that it's not actually solving a crucial problem for me. There's not
Mm,
enough pain there.
yeah.
So I've left it in the graveyard thinking that at some point I'll come back to it. Probably by the time I come back to it, Gmail and Outlook will have solved the problem in-house.
100%.
Okay, so sorry, go on.
No, go for it.
I was going to say, now going back to your actual question, what should you build? I think everyone does sales, and I think that's great. Inquiries are great. Qualification, pre-sales, fantastic. The gems that I see not as many people concentrating on. We've got support, really great, but customer success, I think that's a whole podcast topic for us. But customer success, working out, is there any risky behaviors? Is somebody likely to churn just by their patterns of usage of an app, or
Mm,
the way that they're handling a service? Like, if you
yeah.
can get ahead of that, you're in a great position, and AI is perfect for that kind of thing.
Maybe that's something we should talk about next.
So I reckon we've got next week's podcast sorted then, right?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. We'll definitely do that. So tune into it. And so, James, like, for anyone here listening today, we've given them some great tips and advice. Is there any way that you would point them in a direction of where to go and find out more?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. There's our school community, as always, Make Money with AI. There you'll find templates, and we also encourage our members to post about any of the workflows that they're building. We can help qualify that they're actually solving a problem. We can also do a little bit of technical support. There's some fantastic YouTubers, some of which have their own school community as well. The
Hmm.
guy that got me into school was Jack Roberts. And his school community is an ex-school game winner, and his community is called AI Automations with Jack. He has loads of like NA10 and Make.com. And so if you're looking for specific workflow scenario-based stuff, then yeah, he's great.
Awesome. Well, that sounds like a good place to leave it.
Yeah, for sure. I think we've talked about the critical parts. 95% failed, and we've gone through exactly how to make sure you don't land into that 95%.
100%. So when you go into the community, make sure that you,
Is it 100% or is it 95%?
I've got to say, it's such a South African thing. Like, got, okay. Yeah. Yeah. It's a normal thing. Okay, you ready? Got to pull a straight face. Yeah, perfect. So when you get into the community, reach out to James and I. Like you said, we're here to help, and take action. You know, don't just go in there and have a look around. Really get involved, and yeah, we look forward to hearing from you when you get in there.
And we will see you on the next episode.
100%. We'll see you up in the AI. 100%. I had to
95%.
add another 100% in before we signed off.